No one expected much from the new kid. When Roman Ivanov walked into Hamilton High for the first time, wearing a plain hoodie, carrying a second-hand backpack, and keeping his eyes low, the hallways were filled with whispers. Foreign exchange, someone said. Russian, said another. Weird accent, laughed someone in the back. Roman didn't respond. He didn't flinch. He simply found his locker, placed his bag inside, and walked to his first class like the entire atmosphere of judgment didn't exist. But in a school ruled by unspoken hierarchy, where confidence and cruelty were currencies, that kind of quiet strength made him a target. And nothing attracted bullies like silence that didn't break. The self-proclaimed kings of the campus were Brad, Troy, and Lucas, seniors with money, muscle, and a meanness that festered in their smug smiles. They ran the gym like gladiators and walked the cafeteria like lions. And when they saw Roman eating lunch alone, eyes scanning his textbook as he quietly chewed on a sandwich, they smirked. New boy thinks he's too good for us, Troy had said. Or too dumb to know better, Brad replied with a chuckle. The trap was laid by the end of the day. Roman returned to his locker only to find it wide open, his bag missing. It didn't take long to follow the trail of laughter to the back courtyard, where a circle had formed around a trash bin, and Brad was proudly jamming Roman's entire bag into the sticky, reeking pit. Notebooks, lunchbox, and all. The crowd cheered. Roman walked forward, unbothered, emotionless. Hey freak, Lucas barked. Maybe go cry in whatever language you speak. They laughed again. Roman stared for a second too long, just long enough for the laughter to feel uncertain. What? Troy said, stepping forward. You deaf, or just stupid. But what none of them knew, what absolutely no one in that crowd of dozens could have imagined, was that Roman wasn't just some transfer kid. He was a state-level Sambo fighter from Dagestan. He had trained since the age of 5 under a national champion father, competed in brutal mat battles across Europe, and broken bones before he hit puberty. But he didn't wear medals. He didn't boast. He watched. He waited. Because real fighters don't need spotlights. They become it when provoked. He reached into the trash and calmly pulled his bag out, dusted it off, and turned. Is that all? He said in accented but crystal clear English. Or do you want more? The entire courtyard froze. Brad scoffed and lunged. You little. He didn't finish. Roman sidestepped, used Brad's momentum against him, and flipped him flat on his back with a bone-jarring thud. Gasps exploded across the yard. Before Troy or Lucas could blink, Roman pivoted, hooked Troy's leg in a classic Sambo sweep, and slammed him down. Lucas raised a fist, but it never reached its target. Roman twisted behind him and locked his arm, so quickly it looked like a movie stunt. Lucas was screaming in pain before his knees even hit the ground. The silence that followed wasn't just shock, it was respect. Roman stood in the middle of 3 groaning bodies, eyes steady, voice calm. You don't throw away what someone earns. You don't touch what's not yours. And you don't mistake silence for weakness. He picked up his bag, turned, and walked away, as if it was just another Tuesday. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. No one laughed now. No one whispered. A legend had been born. By the next day, the whole school knew. Videos of the takedown were circulating online with captions like Russian John Wick and Don't mess with Ivanov. But Roman didn't bask in the spotlight. He returned to school the same way. Quiet, hoodie up, eyes low. He wasn't there for clout. He was there for opportunity. Behind that calm demeanor was a story no one had asked about. His family had moved to America after his father passed away from cancer, and Roman was trying to keep his mother's hopes alive by excelling in school and staying out of trouble. But trouble had found him. And now, ironically, it feared him. What truly shifted the balance wasn't just the fight. It was how Roman carried himself afterward. Teachers started asking about him. A wrestling coach tried to recruit him. Other kids, ones who had been bullied, ignored, sidelined, started sitting near him, walking with him. Roman never pushed anyone away. He listened. He helped. Slowly, a quiet following began to form. A movement, some said. The bullies never tried again. Brad showed up to school the next week with an arm brace. Troy avoided eye contact. Lucas transferred schools entirely. And Roman, he didn't gloat. He stayed focused. But when he was asked by a freshman why he didn't finish them off when he had the chance, he simply said, power isn't hurting people. Power is knowing you can, and choosing not to. And here's the truth: heroes don't always arrive with capes or fireworks. Sometimes they show up wearing worn sneakers and carrying a backpack through a new school hallway. Sometimes they don't speak until they're forced to. And sometimes, just sometimes, The quietest fighter is the loudest wake-up call a school ever gets. Before we dive into the second chapter, where Roman faces something far more dangerous than bullies, a brutal underground fight scene that tries to suck him in, take a second and hit that subscribe button. If you believe strength isn't about showing off, but standing up for what's right, then this is your channel. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Weeks passed, but the echo of Roman's takedown never really faded. At Hamilton High, where petty drama usually evaporated overnight, Roman's legend only grew. But he didn't lean into it. If anything, he became even more focused, attending every class, training in the mornings before school, studying late at night while helping his mother with bills, cooking, and adjusting to their new life in America. Still, change was inevitable. Respect followed him now. Not fear, respect. Even the school principal called him in to thank him for how he handled the bullying incident. With restraint and dignity. He was offered a spot on the wrestling team, and although he politely declined, the coach still watched his every move with hopeful eyes. But Roman wasn't just training for school. He was training for survival. With his father gone, his mother barely managing shifts at a nursing home, and the bills piling up, Roman knew that silence wasn't enough anymore. Action, controlled, strategic action, was what mattered now. That's when a whisper reached him. A whisper about a place called the Pit. It started with a kid named Jalen, a sophomore who'd once been bullied, but now shadowed Roman like a younger brother. "You ever heard of the Pit?" he asked one afternoon while Roman helped him with his science homework. Roman shook his head. Jalen leaned in like he was sharing a myth. "It's an underground fight club. Not school fights, real ones. Off campus, cash prizes, big ones. People bet, people win. People get broken." Roman looked up frowning. "That's illegal," he said flatly. Jalen nodded. "Yeah, that's the point. But I heard someone asked about you. Some guy. Said you were the Russian kid. Said you messed up the pecking order." Roman's eyes narrowed. He didn't like being hunted, even with money attached. "I'm not interested," he said. But deep down, a storm was brewing. Not out of pride, but necessity. That night, Roman found his mother crying silently in their small kitchen. The landlord had given them one more week. Roman's fists clenched under the table. That night, he made a decision. He would enter the Pit, just once. Get the money, pay the rent, disappear. The warehouse was in the outskirts of the city, graffiti-covered, dimly lit, and thumping with bass, heavy music. Inside, a crude ring had been drawn with duct tape. People, teens, young adults, even older men, crowded the space, shouting, betting, filming on their phones. Roman walked in, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, bags slung over his shoulder. A tall man with tattoos, a headset, and a clipboard approached. "You the Russian?" Roman didn't respond. "Good," the man said. "Name's Cato. You're in. First timer. Let's see if the hype is real." The first match was against a street brawler named Diesel. A heavyweight with fists like bricks and a neck like a tree trunk. The crowd laughed when they saw Roman. "This kid's gonna die," someone shouted. But Roman wasn't here to impress them. He was here to end this fast. Diesel lunged. Roman pivoted, hooked his arm, slammed him into the floor, then locked a choke so fast even the crowd was stunned. Diesel tapped in under 30 seconds. Silence, then chaos. Cheers. Cato raised Roman's hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, we got a killer!" The cash was handed over in an envelope. Roman left without a word, but it wasn't over. It was never over. Cato found him 3 days later outside school. One more match. Bigger money, real deal, no rules. Roman shook his head, not interested. But Cato leaned in. "We know where you live, kid. We know your mom works late. Would be a shame if something happened to her." Roman's eyes went cold. "Is that a threat?" "Nah," Cato said with a smirk. "It's a reality check." Roman turned and walked away. But that night, when he came home, he noticed something. Their apartment had been broken into. Nothing stolen. Just touched, moved, a message. The next match was set for Friday. No way out. Cato made sure of it. This time, it wasn't a warehouse. It was deeper, hidden. Cement walls. Caged ring. And across from Roman stood a monster. Not a teen, but a grown man named Cray, with scars down his face and bloodlust in his eyes. Ex-con, someone whispered. Used to fight in Russian prisons. Roman's stomach turned. This wasn't a match. This was punishment. The bell rang. Cray charged like a rhino. Roman dodged, but barely. The man fought dirty, elbows, knees, headbutts. Roman took a hit to the temple. Blood ran into his eye. The crowd roared. But then something snapped inside Roman. His father's voice echoed, calm as power. Rage is weakness. Roman exhaled, blocked a strike, grabbed Kray's arm, twisted. One snap. Kray howled. Roman slid behind, swept his leg, mounted, and began striking with precision, not rage, but calculation. Within a minute, Kray was unconscious. Roman stood, bloody but unbroken. Kato stormed in, furious. "You were supposed to lose." Roman stared at him. "You never understood who I am." But this time, he didn't walk out. Kato's men cornered him in the hallway. 5 of them. No rules, no ring. Just vengeance. Roman backed up, breath steady, calculating. Then, chaos. The first man swung a pipe. Roman ducked, slammed his knee into the attacker's chest. Another lunged with a blade. Roman disarmed him in 2 moves and used the blade to cut the lights. Screams, darkness. In that space, Roman became a ghost. One by one, he took them down. When the police finally raided the place, tipped off anonymously, they found Roman sitting calmly on a crate, waiting. It was over. The pit was shut down. Kato and his gang were arrested. Roman was taken in for questioning but released with no charges. The videos had gone viral. Again. But this time, it wasn't just students watching. News outlets picked it up. Teen fighter dismantles illegal fight club. The headlines read, Roman was offered a scholarship. A local Sambo federation reached out. Sponsors. Interviews. But he declined almost all of it. He returned home, hugged his mother, paid the rent, and resumed life like nothing had happened. But to Hamilton Hyde and the world beyond, Roman Ivanov had become something more than a fighter. He was proof that quiet strength could shatter loud cruelty, that standing up for yourself, not out of ego but necessity, could rewrite your future. And that honor, even in a world that profits off chaos, still has a place. So if you're reading this, watching this, feeling this, know this: there's power in you. Even if the world overlooks it, even if you're pushed down, even if they throw your bag in the trash, you can rise, you can fight, you can win. Subscribe right now to join the movement. We don't just tell stories, we build legends. And you're next.